let's have a look at the a little bit more about the course and you know, the examination elements to it. So it's a 2-day course.
Yes, we were very conscious. So some of the other courses, the admin course is 3 days. Just trying to remember these off the top of my head. Admin course is 3 days. Analyst course 5 days. Managers course 3 days. And we said actually for the directors course, we recognise that being out of the office for any period of time can be quite difficult. So we did want to kind of keep that down to the 2 days, which again goes back to the fact it's an essentials course. We can't cover absolutely everything in that, so it's the essentials course, so 2 days. But we do have an exam that needs to be completed. So it's an hour exam where there's 50 questions, and it is multiple choice, but don't let anybody kid you that multiple choice can be relatively straightforward, because the questions that have been set and been through lots of rigorous kind of quality checks are really about kind of testing your ability to understand the role and how the competencies are applied to that role, to get to just to check that you've got a real understanding about what's involved in undertaking that role. So some of the multiple choice questions are, you know, have got quite a bit in them before you get to make your choice.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. So all of the essentials suite of courses have the same core text behind them, don't they?
Yeah,
so
they do.
You know, these are the three books, which I'm quite proudly say that all of those cost less than
a single Axelos manual.
Yes. So it's not extortionate, but I think at this level, you know, what you're seeing there on screen right now is that, you know, is obviously what's been that forms well, we've already talked about the competency framework, of course, but also the services, and then also praxis. Can you tell us a little bit more about why they're underpinning this?
So so it was quite interesting when we were pulling the course materials together about what needed to go in from a theory perspective in order to be able to talk about the practical stuff. So you do need some theory to get to the practical application. So the competency framework gives us the role description and the specific competencies required for each role. The service catalogue, which is produced and written by Stuart Dixon, that really is the most comprehensive catalogue out there of things that PMOs do. So again, looking at kind of what you need to have in terms of being competent comes from the competency framework. What the types of things that you can do comes from the service catalogue. But we also needed some project and program management theory to dip into. And the great thing about the praxis framework, and we do also use the website www.praxisframework.org. We also use the website because that is free to use as long as it's referenced.
Yeah,
get that in.
Yeah.
So what we cover off, so if there's kind of project and program management theory, we dip into praxis. If we want to know what PMOs do, we know in the service catalogue, and if we want to know what the PMO person needs to be equipped with, we use the service catalogue.
Okay.
Sorry, the competency framework.
Okay, so there's the core text.
I do want to say that even though Lindsay says they're cheaper to buy than all of the any Axelos manual, which is true, the way the course materials and what we've done for the training providers is that actually the course text, that is the core materials that have been provided, contain all of the information in. So because people can get quite alarmed when you see those 3 books, there's an awful lot, and you don't obviously have to learn everything in all of those 3 books because we use the same core text, so it's bits of each book. And so we have extracted that and put that in the course materials. So you'll get the training providers will provide you with kind of set of slides and some notes, and that is everything you need in order to be able to be successful in the exam. But we would still recommend actually having them on your bookshelf because they're great reference manuals.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's get into a little bit more detail then about what people can expect in terms of the course content. There's top 3 levels, really.
Yes. So we spend some time talking about the context. Just again, as we went through the competency framework, the challenges is that every PMO can be completely different. So we spend a bit of time talking about the kind of the context and kind of the different types of PMO. We cover off the roles, and then we go into some detail in the competency. So if we look at kind of a little bit more detail of what that actually kind of involves, when we talk about the context, we talk about kind of the organisation structure, the kind of the scope of any kind of PMO, and particularly, and this is where the really kind of the fun bit of the course is, because we talk about the real situations of the delegates who are on the course. So the mission, the vision, the strategy. We talk about the integrated PMO model. So again, many organizations now don't just have a single PMO, they have multiple PMOs across the organization. And again, it's about thinking about, well, what does that look like? What are the pros and cons of the different kind of models that are out there? When should we get a new one? And every organization can actually kind of design their own, but actually we have some kind of conversations about what that looks like. And then we also talk about how we develop maturity of project and program management and the PMO. So that's a kind of really good kind of just getting our head in the right space of being, kind of what our organization needs for a PMO. And then we go onto the roles, and we do, just for clarity, cover off details of each of the 4 roles, because just understanding kind of where the director would sit with the manager, where the manager sits with the analyst, what those interactions. So we cover off all of the 4 roles at a high level, and then we go into some detail around the PMO director role. And to me, as you know, when we went to the competency framework, yes, we talk about knowledge and skills, but actually what is absolutely key is the behaviours. And so we discuss how the PMO director behaves contributes to the success and particularly the credibility of the PMO, and therefore kind of how valuable it is to the organisation. Yeah. And then finally, when we've covered that off, we walk through the specific competencies that are relevant to the PMO director. Now, within the competency framework, there's about 26 competencies. The argument is that we could have covered all of them. Yeah. In the role profiles, we always said we would say 5 to 8 would be key for that particular role. And so we've picked off the kind of the 5 key ones that are important, we believe, at the PMO director. Interestingly, and we were prepared for this, we are still questioned P3M delivery support. What on earth is a PMO director doing with delivery support? Surely that's an administrative role. And actually, whatever role you do within a PMO, you're going to be doing some delivery support. Now, delivery support at director level might be presenting the kind of the portfolio level review and risks at the portfolio level. It's still, absolute support. So that becomes kind of really important. And then we pick off 4 of what we call the enabling competencies from the competency framework, which are about setting up the right environment and the right infrastructure in order for projects and programs to run effectively. So those are the kind of the 4 we put up there: capacity management, capability development, governance framework, and assurance.
Yeah. And just for anybody who wants to know more detail, and there's a lot more detail, if you head over to the House of PMO website, houseofpmo.com, you'll see on the front page there's a qualifications. You'll just need to navigate to the PMO director one, and so full syllabus is there. So essentially that's what you get from me. It comes from APMG. Because it's the way that syllabuses work, I'm sure Eileen will give you the more technical answers, but ultimately whatever is covered in that syllabus you can expect to see in the training course, which then aligns to the exam. So there's a lot more detail in there.